Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, making him only the second president to win a second non-consecutive term. With Trump's re-election, America once again showcases how extreme and polarized its choices can be. From electing Barack Obama to Donald Trump, two leaders who represent stark opposites, this country has demonstrated the breadth of its ideological spectrum. This extremism is not new to America. It's the land of cutting-edge technological innovation and scientific advancement, while simultaneously being home to extreme religious views and the highest number of cult groups. So, how did this happen? What reasons led to Donald Trump's second term? It comes down to three main reasons. The psychology of political bias. Why people often stick to their beliefs, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. Opponents. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and how their strategies and public image played a role. And the psychology of perception. How Trump used the power of perception to his advantage. Each of these reveals something unique about how we think, how we decide, and ultimately, how America chose its leader again. Let's explore. The psychology of political bias. Dan Kahan, a psychology professor at Yale Law School, conducted a fascinating study to explore how political beliefs affect decision-making. In this study, participants were presented with data from a fictional research project about a new skin cream. They were asked to analyze the data and determine whether the cream was effective. In the research, the volunteers for the test were divided into two groups. Group A, with people who used the new skin cream for their rash. Group B, with people who did not use the cream. The data presented was as follows. Take a minute to make your own conclusion as well. What do you think? Was the skin cream effective? At first glance, if you just look at the rash improved numbers, it might seem that the cream worked. Group A, the group who used the cream, had more people showing improvement compared to Group B. However, when you examine the data more carefully, the ratio of rash improved to rash worsened paints a different picture. For Group A, there were 223 people who showed improvement versus 75 people for whom the rashes got worse. This gives a ratio of 2.8. For Group B, similarly, the ratio comes out to be 5. This means that those who didn't use the cream that is Group B actually had a better improvement ratio than those who did, Group A. In conclusion, the cream was not effective. The numbers were then flipped to ensure the accuracy of the experiment. The participants' answers were then analyzed based on their numeracy scores. Numeracy reflects the ability to interpret data and solve problems logically. Essentially, it measures how well people make data-driven decisions.
Numeracy is a kind of reasoning capacity. It's not so much the capacity to use complicated mathematics, but really to reason well about quantitative information.
When the results were plotted, they showed exactly what you might expect. People with higher numeracy scores were more likely to get the correct answer. Even when the participants were separated by their political beliefs, the results didn't change. As expected, because there is only so much politics in a question about a skin cream. But what happens when politics comes into the equation? To test this, the experiment was replaced from a skin cream scenario with a question about gun violence. The structure of the experiment remained the same, but the context was now politically charged. Here's where things got interesting. When the data showed that gun control reduces crime, participants who leaned left and had higher numeracy scores were more likely to arrive at the correct conclusion, as expected. But when the data suggested that gun control increases crime, the same group struggled to get the right answer, even with higher numeracy scores. And this wasn't unique to one political ideology. Right-leaning participants showed the same difficulty when the data contradicted their beliefs. The average numeracy score in America falls between 4 and 6. This study revealed something fundamental. When it comes to political topics, people's deeply held beliefs often outweigh objective data, even if that data is clear and logical. This is why deep red states, for example, remained largely unmoved by evidence that challenges their long-standing political preferences. These biases ensured unwavering support for figures like Donald Trump, regardless of the facts presented.
About former President Donald Trump's alleged criminal scheme to stay in power after losing in 2020. former President Trump has just said he has been indicted by a grand jury over classified documents found at his Mar-a-Lago home.
The former president is charged with falsifying records to hide payments to his former lawyer, Michael Cohen.
Opponents: Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Joe Biden began his campaign amid concerns about his age and cognitive abilities. These apprehensions were exacerbated during the first presidential debate on June 27, 2024, where his performance was widely criticized.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Observers noted that Biden appeared fatigued and struggled to effectively counter Trump's aggressive rhetoric. This lackluster showing intensified discussions within the Democratic Party about his viability as a candidate. Subsequently, Biden withdrew from the race, leading to Kamala Harris's nomination as the Democratic candidate. Kamala Harris's campaign focused heavily on abortion rights, with advertisements highlighting Trump's controversial past statements, such as his 2016 remark suggesting women who seek abortions should face punishment. However, this strategy failed to resonate broadly, especially with working-class women whose top concerns centered on inflation and economic pressures. According to surveys, 36% of women prioritized rising household expenses, compared to just 13% who identified abortion as their most pressing issue. Critics argued that Harris's campaign lacked a clear and relatable economic vision. Her policies appealed to college-educated, upper-middle-class voters, but failed to address the immediate concerns of middle and working-class Americans. Ultimately, Harris's inability to broaden her message beyond core Democratic issues like abortion and social justice left her vulnerable. This, combined with Trump's focused messaging on the economy and immigration, allowed him to consolidate support and secure his re-election. The psychology of perception. Of all the factors that contributed to Donald Trump's success, his ability to shape perception stands out as the most critical. This isn't just about communication, it's about how people perceive him, his opponents, and the issues he addresses. By mastering the psychology of perception, Trump has consistently controlled the narrative in a way that resonates deeply with his audience. For many, the name Donald Trump is synonymous with immense wealth and business success. This perception persists even when a quick examination of his financial record reveals a history riddled with failures, chronic losses, and questionable practices. Much of Trump's financial foundation was inherited from his father, Fred Trump, a successful New York real estate developer. While Donald Trump has often referred to his inheritance as a small loan of $1 million, investigations show he received far more, upwards of $400 million adjusted for inflation. Despite these financial failures, Trump has cultivated an image of unassailable success. His iconic properties, such as Trump Tower, and his long-running television show, The Apprentice, portrayed him as a decisive and effective leader. Through these efforts, he has successfully shaped public perception, allowing his image as a savvy businessman to overshadow the realities of his financial history. Media amplification and simplicity. Trump's mastery of the media has been key to maintaining this perception. His use of social media, particularly Twitter and Truth Social, didn't just amplify his voice. It dictated the news cycle.
Briefer, quoting again, Roger Stone has been treated very unfairly. How about that jury forewoman? Does anybody think that was fair? Disgraceful. Stay tuned. And guys like low-rating psycho Joe Scarborough are allowed to walk the streets, open cold case. That's the President of the United States, the chief executive, in the middle of a pandemic, defending a convicted felon.
He talked about Don Lemon. Let me say this.
What was your working weekend? What did you do during your working weekend? Well,
worried about himself.
You tweeted more hateful things about colleagues of ours.
As Larson's thesis explains, Trump's tweets, or the retweets of his followers, guided the press on what topics to cover. This ensured Trump dominated the conversation, even during moments of controversy. The power of collective affirmation. According to a Psychology Today article, Trump's rallies exemplify how perception is reinforced through collective experiences. Chants like "Make America Great Again" and "Build the Wall" are more than slogans. They're rituals of group affirmation. These moments create a shared sense of purpose and identity among his supporters, reinforcing their perception of Trump as their leader and protector. At these rallies, Trump doesn't just deliver speeches. He engages in a dialogue with his audience, responding to their chants and emotions. Trump's messaging style plays directly into this. He simplifies complex issues into clear, memorable phrases, appealing to what psychologists call cognitive shortcuts. These simplified messages create clarity, making his proposals feel practical and easy to grasp, even if they lack depth.
Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America prosper again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again.
Donald Trump is the ultimate example of how far perception can lead. His life is a case study of how perception can eclipse objective truth. The perception of a successful businessman who could extend his supposed financial prowess to caring for the nation and bringing meaningful change for its people. This carefully crafted image has propelled him to a historic second term in the White House. But as Trump steps into his next 4 years at the helm of America, the question isn't just what policies he'll enact or what controversies might unfold. The question is, how will the man who thrives on unpredictability shape the future of a deeply divided nation? One thing is certain, Donald Trump's America will be anything but predictable.